Welcome to another episode of Hooked. Today I'm going to show you how to tie banded hook lengths up to spade end hooks. Now obviously you've got a few options when you go fishing and you want to fish banded pellet or banded caster, something of that nature. If you look around the shops you can't always get the exact permutations that you want, so me personally I prefer to tie my own hook, but tying them up to spades is very difficult. You just can't do it by hand, you can't do it with a hook tyer. Well, you can do it by hand but it's very fiddly. So it's easier if you use one of these hook tying machines. Now this one is the Gizmo Angling ZT Lite. They don't make this model anymore. Unfortunately I think the company suffered some administration issues, but there is a new company out now called Resurrection Angling, and the gentleman who launched that, Dennis Vos, has launched a new hook tyer called the Evolution. I'll put a link down in the description so that you can find where to get one of these if you decide this is the way you want to go. But in terms of speed and being able to tie up hook lengths, accurately to the same length every time, this is just invaluable for me. So I found it brilliant. I mean, I may upgrade to the Resurrection Angling Evolution hook tyer in the future, but we'll have to see how that goes. So as I say, you've got a few options. You could go to the shop and just buy some pre-tied hook lengths, something like this. Again, you're limited, you're going to be stuck with the line diameter that they give to you, and the size of hook. Obviously you'd pick your choice there, but if you wanted something finer than that, like 0.10 to a 16 possibly, then it's not going to suit for you. Plus, trying to find the right size band for the application that you want, it just makes it all more difficult. So if you build your own up, you can make whatever permutation you want, size of hook, strain of line and size of band. That way you can make the application suit yourself. So you could go with that option. You could obviously hand tie some hooks using eyed hooks. Personally I think spade end hooks always give a better presentation. They lie straighter in the water, so I never used to use eyed hooks for anything until commercial carp fishing came along. But now with the hook tying machine that I've got, I'm able to go back to spade end for everything and still use those banded and even bait spikes. So you can see on this machine there's actually a prong where you can put your band and a bait spike as well. So I use it in maybe slightly differently to how Dennis intended this to be used, but it works for me. You've just got to play around with it a little bit, and setting this to the critical length is the most crucial aspect, so that you can tie those hook lengths short. And this will tie down to 3 inches. It is a little bit tight between this gap, and I think the new hook tyer is probably built better than this one, but this was the cheap version, so going forward I may look to buy the upgraded Evolution model. So today we're going to be using some Preston Jura bands. I use the small ones and I tie these up for fishing banded caster. We're going to team that with a Drennan size 18 silverfish match hook, barbless match hook, and we're going to use some reflow power line. Today I'm just going to use 0.13, it was the first thing I got to hand. It's usually probably about right for commercials, but I may go down to even 0.10 in the winter. So the first thing we need to do is tie a length of line with a loop on it. For that I need a loop tyer and my scissors. And we'll take a section of this line off and just pull that around my finger so the two ends are trapped between my thumb and index finger. And taking the loop tyer, you can either use the small end or the larger end. I find the larger end's better when you want to go and store these. We're just going to hook underneath, twizzle it once, twizzle it twice, bring that loop over the large prong and pull our finger out, and then we're going to draw that up to the back of the loop tyer. Wet the knot and then slide that off, and as we pull it forms the loop. So it's as quick as that. If you cut these off to about 12 inches long, that'll give you more than enough line if you just try tying short hook lengths. I can actually use this hook tyer to do feeder hook lengths as well, and I put about 9 or 10 wraps on to get 50cm long hook lengths. So now we'll just take one of the size 18 silverfish match hooks. I'm going to mount this so the prong's on this side, and I'm going to mount this so that the shank is at the back, so shank's furthest away from me. There's a little thumb wheel under here. We'll just tighten that up, and you can see now that that's secured in the jaws of the hook tyer. Then we'll just move our adjustment arm in, tighten the thumb wheel on the front of here, because that locks this mechanism in place. This is one way, so it won't turn backwards unless you release that thumb wheel there. So if you tighten that in, there's an alignment line on the far side to allow you to know how many turns, but we're lining up with this notch. So on this, to tie 4-inch hook length, it's literally half a turn, and I line up that white line with the notch. That then needs to come round this brass prong here and just bring it through the jaws. So once we've got to that point, we can start to whip this down the hook. So we just need to get it started and catch it. It is a little bit close on this machine, which is why I may upgrade in the future. Once that's started, we can just start easing that back down the hook and put 9 or 10 whips on there. Then what we do is take this line, and underneath here is another prong which pops up and reveals that, and we wrap around there and then release it, and that traps our line in position. Now at this point, just need to get one of our bands, and we'll slide this band onto the line. Just pop that prong back up, and we're going to bring it over the band prong on the top. Now we can continue our whipping down, and just put 3 whips on there and trap it once again under that. So just trim off that excess length now, wet the knot. Now at this point we just need to start tightening the knot. Once you feel the tension in that, you can release this knob, and that is now freed off our whipping, and continue to tighten. And hopefully you can see that's just tightening down nicely. Now when you're doing this off camera in real time, it's significantly faster. So that's it, our hook's tied on there with our band onto a loop. Now you can adjust this prong to make these loops shorter or longer depending on your preference and what you're fishing for. All we need to do now is release the line by pushing the prong up. That's freed that off completely. One little tweak, and then unscrew the thumb wheel, pull our line free, trim off our tag end and release it from the jaws. And that's it. That is one size 18 hook tied up with the Jura band on, and it's absolutely perfect. If you found this video of some use, then please consider subscribing to the channel. You can do that by hitting the hooked logo up here. For more tips and tricks, why not check out the how to make punch crumb video over here. Don't forget, ring the notification bell, and that way you won't miss a single upload every time I make one. Thanks for watching, and tight lines!